Hello and welcome to Keeping It Real. We're here with me, Rudi Lickwood. Thanks for joining me. How are we, people? How are we? Right about now, I'm having quite a few technicals. It seems like the more technology we get, the more issues we have. The more they say technology makes lives better, but in actual fact, technology creates more problems. Can you believe that? But thanks for being patient and waiting for me. I know, is it Philly Bailey? Did I pronounce that correctly? Hello. Are you on? Yes, we're getting started. Clark, thank you very much. You was here nice and early. You was not late by no means. Claire Tong, thank you for joining me. Liz Harvey, Denise, Astrid, who else is in here? Trevor, we've got Lisa, we've got Jemmy, Wagwan. What's that? It looks so Mount running 100 miles per hour. Was it? God, I got a feeling there's going to be some creepies tonight for some reason. But the main thing is that my guests are here. Yeah, they're here and they're waiting to talk to you. I don't think I'll be talking much tonight for some reason. Both of my guests are quite how I don't know what's the best way to put it, but both of them have a story to tell. You know, a lot of people used to complain that, but I ain't got nothing to say. But I think that after listening to my two guests later on, you know, I think you're going to find that everybody's got a story, really and truly. And it's nice to see the room greeting one another. Jemmy says, good evening, ladies. So I know that he's not addressing me. Patricia talks. Oh, you do, Patricia, do you? Says, greetings, everyone. And Liz is saying hello back to Jemmy. So, hello, Jackie. Thanks for popping in, darling. So I hope you guys got plenty of questions for my two guests. That's one thing. All right. My first guest is known by a few of the Rants and Bants crew, as well as Champagnes and Giggles. She's a starlet in her own right, especially after talking to her. I discovered a lot more than I thought I would have. But let's have a look at her before we bring her onto the platform, shall we? Diane, how you doing?
Hello, Rudi. I'm good, thank you.
You're looking good.
Oh, thank you.
So how you feeling, man? Because I know we was having a few technicals, weren't we?
Oh goodness, yes. A bit nervous, if I'm honest with you. I've never done anything like this before.
You haven't done nothing. You haven't done nothing like this before at all.
Well, I've done. Well, I did a no base like home interview, but that was yeah. And I've spoken. I started speaking since 2018, public speaking, because I couldn't do it before.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? It's funny, the sort of things that brings you out of yourself and and gets you talking in the first place. You know?
Yeah.
Because I must
go ahead.
Yeah, because I must admit, I did see you as a shy introvert initially. That was the first impression that I had of you, as being somebody who was quite a shy introvert who doesn't really get involved in much. More somebody who was sitting on the sidelines, but that's not true.
Isn't it?
No. No,
okay.
it's far from the truth. You tend to get involved in a lot of areas and a lot of things. As quiet as you may be. I mean, here's a photograph of you here. Yeah. And if you could tell us what's going on.
Okay, so that was back in September. I have a friend by the name of Judd Batchelor who every year she raises funds for different charities. So last year she decided to raise funds for Diabetes UK, and lockdown brought me back to Gladstone Park, which I've known since I was a little girl, and so myself and my other friend, we were going for exercises about 6 weeks after we went into lockdown. You know, we thought Sharon, my friend, said, you know, she's got to do something. So she started to go for exercise. So on day 2nd of her exercise, I joined her, and we were meant to be doing exercises. But then, so I did. I started off very well, but then I started doing Facebook Live. So I was sort of exercising, my vocabulary as opposed to the physical exercise. So my friend Judd, she used to see me do my live. So she said, Di, because things are different now, she said, would you do a walk for Diabetes UK? And so that's what I did. So that was but she, like Judd said, she only expected me to have a few friends walking. She said she didn't expect me to have all of Brent walking with me.
So what did you guys raise money for that event? Was that something you raised money for, or?
Yeah, so it was quite a full day. So it wasn't. So Judd is from East London, so she had different people from all over. So all of that went to Diabetes UK. So it was she had virtual exercises, and then later on in the day we got together on Zoom, and there was a talk as well. So it was quite a full-on day, but it was for a good cause, and it was an honour to do that.
Yeah, you always seem quite surprised when you get called in or you get involved in stuff, and it's like, oh my God! So to me, it's an honour to have you. I mean, oh come on, man! I mean, we've got Woods. I don't know how to pronounce that. That's Woods SCLF full, who is saying that Diane is the champion of community.
That's Clarissa. Yeah. Clarissa. Oh, thank you, Clarissa. Bless you. Thank you so much.
She's saying that you're an actual champion when it comes to community, and it is because from very early on you were doing stuff in the church, if I'm correct, when it came to teaching the youngsters and doing I guess is it Sunday school? Is that the right way?
Yeah, so I'm a Sunday school teacher at a church that I was christened at, and I'm on the church council. So I started doing the Sunday school in 1998, so on and off. So I've been back since 2017. So yeah, I'm a Sunday school teacher as well.
God, so what is it like teaching kids?
I love children. No. So when I started in 1998, I started off as a Sunday school teacher, and then I got involved. So Father Rob, who is now the Bishop of Edmonton, may I add, amazing man, he got me involved, encouraged me to get involved with the youth group. So I did, but I'm more of a Sunday school teacher, but I can teach all ages. I can teach all ages when it comes to Sunday school. I'm very good with children. I'm very good with the older ones as well. So it's a joy. If I'm honest, it's a joy. I miss actually seeing the children, but we've done Zoom. We've done Sunday school on Zoom. We've managed to do 2, and it was the first one was back in November, and then the last one was the week before Christmas, and it was a joy to see the children. It really was.
Well, I mean, I'm feeling sorry for the children, to be honest with you, right about now. I really am. I mean, imagine having to be cooped up in the house. I mean, I remember when we were kids, we used to go to Hampstead Heath. We used to go to Gospel Oak, just jump on a train and just go outside and just play and not come back in until until the street lamps came on. That's when we knew that it was time to come back in. But I believe another guy that you came across was George the Poet.
Yes, young George. Yes, I knew him when he was younger. Back in the day, we used to have activities for the children. So there were different churches that got together in Brent. So we had All Souls, and that was where George was a member. We had my church, St Mary's. We had St Mark's, St Matthew's. I don't know if I've missed any, but what we used to do was we used to have like movie nights and activities for the children. So the youth leaders used to get together and plan, and then we used to have activities for the children. And George was a member of also, as I've mentioned. So I remember George actually doing a little testimony when he was younger. But when he became, so it was only a couple of years ago that I actually saw, or was it last year? I saw this young man who was so I don't know if I've lost my right. Am I back? I lost my connection for a moment. So I saw this young man, and he was talking about St. Maths, and I was just, and I didn't realise who he was until I was talking to someone about him, someone that I used to do that used.
Oh no, this was my fear, ladies and gentlemen. This was my fear that the internet was going to cause us a bit of an issue tonight. Because just before we were starting the show, Diane's internet connection was cutting in and out. So we might just have to bear with the connection for a moment, and hopefully it will sort itself out. Because what I've discovered with Diane is that she gets involved in so many different activities within the community, and she's very spiritual about it as well. And it seems like the Lord is playing with her internet for some reason or the other. We can only hope that it's going to sort itself out and kick back in, because she's got Clarissa waiting on her, she's got Claire waiting on her. Smichael, I wonder if that's the Smichael I'm thinking it is. Netballer 4, that's somebody new. Nice to see you. Thank you very much for popping into the room and joining me on Keep It Real. This is actually real, as you can see. You can't get no more real than this when somebody's internet connection is playing up. What I'll do is I'll take her off, and hopefully she will be able to find her way back into the studio, and she might even get a bit of connection for all we know. It's like when they always say, press the reboot, start again, then you're back in, innit? You're back in. Because the interview has only really just begun, and I don't want to just panic and jump straight out. I really do want to give her the chance to come back in. I really do. So let me, just for the meantime, at least anyway, let me just play you an advert just for now.
It's time to spice up your food with One Shot Marinade, the authentic Caribbean seasoning. Good tasting food is at the heart of Caribbean culture, and seasoning is essential to the flavour of any tasty dish. Available in 4 flavoursome varieties, One Shot Marinade has been developed to bring generations of culinary knowledge from the melting pot of the Caribbean direct to your kitchen. So, whether you're preparing an elaborate island dish or a quick tasty snack, choose One Shot Marinade. A little bit of Caribbean history in every bottle.
How well does a community take care of itself? According to a recent study, a single pound circulates in the Asian community for 28 days, in Jewish communities for 20 days, in white communities for approximately 17 days, and the black community, 6 hours. This is what we at the Black Wall Street UK desperately want to change. We've developed a unique mobile app called the Black Wall Street UK. This is a business directory for black-owned businesses all across the UK. With the Black Wall Street UK app, You can find any Black-owned businesses around you with the tap of a finger. So next time you're searching for a nearby hair product store or a nail shop or an estate agent or any Black-owned business or service provider, just do a super quick search on the Black Wall Street UK. Our app allows you to search by business type and location. You can save your favourite businesses, add your own Black-owned business, read reviews from other clients and much more. The Black Wall Street UK, the entire UK Black community at your fingertips. Free app now available on Apple and Play Store. www.thebblackwallstreetuk.com.
I'm just in.
Okay. What I've done is I've asked her to see if she can connect via her phone instead of coming through on the instead of coming through via her computer. So we're going to give her we'll give her a couple more minutes. Really, I mean, a lot has really gone into this interview, and I think it would be a shame for me to bring on my next guest without really giving Diane an opportunity to try to connect. So in the meantime, I will have to do what I would normally have to do, yeah, if I found myself in a similar situation when I'm on stage, believe it or not, which is that you end up having to wing it. Do you know what I mean? You end up having to wing it. You end up having to just keep chatting, like not now, Guan, yeah. But then that's the pro that I am. But let's see how we get on. Having a quick drink, are we?
I was having a sip of my drink. You caught me. So I've had to. I'm on my phone now because I don't know what's going on with my laptop. So
laptop's sick, man. Your laptop's got COVID.
Don't say that about that. I rebuke that.
Could you do me a favor? Can you turn the phone the other way?
Oh, okay. Hang on.
So we can get a landscape.
Okay, so I'm upside down now, aren't I? Hang on. So it.
Oh, you have. Oh my God! Who told me to go trouble her? Me should have left her. Me should have left her where she was, Tarati. At least then we knew that she was on. Oh my God, Rudi, you dickhead. Never mind, people, never mind. I'm sure all she'll need to do, right, is just reconnect and she'll be back in. Right, here we go. Let's do this. Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to get it the right way. I'm doing
let's leave it. Let's just no.
Yeah.
Yes, let's not touch nothing now.
Bridget Jones. Remember, I'm my nickname's Bridget Jones, so I got to warn you.
Is it your name? So everything you touch turns to gold, and then it eventually turns into bronze. Is that what's going on here?
Something like that. My husband used to call me Bridget Jones.
Okay, because we were talking about George the poet, and how you came across him through All Souls Church. All Saints.
Yeah, All Souls. So it was our Brent youth cluster. So the Church of England churches coming together and having activities for the children, and then we used to have joint services as well. So and I managed to interview George. I'm echoing now. Am I echoing?
You are echoing slightly, but we won't worry about that too much.
Okay. I've moved you a bit, so hopefully you won't fall over.
Yeah. That's your husband in the background there, isn't it?
That's Ray, so aka Briggy.
AKA Briggy.
Briggy. So he was known as Briggy. He was a radio presenter, and also a mic man for a sound called City Gents.
Okay, I've heard of City Gents. I've heard of City Gents. They weren't a bad sound. They weren't brilliant, but they were all right.
They're still around. How dare you?
Yeah, I'm sure they are still around using valve amps. I think they're on analog. I think they're on analog.
They're on Roots FM. I have you know.
Yeah, that is analog.
I'll leave you to Gussie.
Yeah, Gussie, they might have a go at me for saying that. Oh my god! But then, as we mentioned Gussie's name, you and Gussie are involved in something, aren't you? You actually do something with Gussie, if I'm correct.
Okay, so we're a member. So we've got a charity. Well, it's not charity status yet, but it will be called the Village House Hub. And so we formed it to reach out to the community to have events. And this pandemic has kind of, sort of turned things in another direction. But we might be quiet, but we've got things in the future that we'd like to do. I'm going to plug my earphones in because the echoing is bothering me. So let me just plug my earphones in. All right, that might make things better. So you've got to sing us in the meantime to entertain. Hold on.
No, that's all right. We'll get it. I mean, we'll eventually get it right. We'll get this interview out of you one way or the other. Right? That's how I'm looking at it.
Okay, so is the echoing gone now? Because I can't hear any more echoing.
Okay, it sounds better now, yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
Right, let me just ask the room. Does that sound better in the room for everybody as well? Look at that, I rebuke that. Somebody's even bigging you up. Big up the village. Big up village.
Thank you. Lost Granger, thank you.
Yes, Lost Granger, yeah, big up the village. Tell us more about the village. Come on, tell us more about the village.
So what happened in 2019, an idea came to mind where I just wanted to do things to reach out to the community. So Mr. Mullins from the Lady Constantine Centre, he was a very good friend of my dad's. And the idea, I spoke to him and I told him the concept, and he said, "That's a very good idea, Diane. That's a very good idea." So then what happened? So we got members from the community together. So you see Sandra in the picture with the hat. She's my primary school friend and secondary school, and she's also the secretary of Wilson Green Baptist Church. So Sandra, and then you've got Lloyd, he's part of the village. But Sandra, myself, Gussie, and I call my big brother Fitzroy Taylor, FX family. We're we registered. You've got a picture.
Yeah, I think I've got a picture.
Yeah, there you go. Big brother Fitz, who I've known since I was a little girl. So we are the directors of the Village House Hub. So the idea is, God willing, we will be reaching out to the community. We support events as well, but we will be doing our own events to reach out. And the idea of that is, I grew up in this area. So did Fitzroy, so did Gussie, so did Sandra. And I feel that we need people that, grew up in our community, who understand our community, to actually, do events that the community can relate to. And that's what the Village House Hub is about. So we will, so watch this space. We will be, so it's not just about supporting young people, it's about doing something for everyone. And also supporting, I mean, we have, United Borders, Justin, who has the bus with the studio on it. Justin's a part of there you go, United Borders. So Justin's a part of the Village House Hub. We've also got Jasmine, who was the founder, or is the founder of the Brent Factor, but they're now called. She's changed the name.
The Brent Factor, I believe they had they held something in Brent Cross. They had
auditions in Brent Cross. And then do you remember they had the finals at the Civic Centre back in 2019? And that's and you were a judge, weren't you? Yeah.
I was one. That's the first time I've been like an X Factor judge. I sat there and I thought, my name is Mr. Cowell. Do you know what I mean? you really need to impress me if you're going to get through. That's what I kind of like felt. But I thought that Jasmine did a really, really good job, because the amount of young talent that I actually saw, especially coming through the Brent Cross itself, because it was in Brent Cross where I saw some of the heats, the heats, and to see these young kids sing and perform and dance the way that they did I thought that was quite phenomenal. It's just to get the sponsorship and behind it, really, to get it to kick off, and it proved that Brent has got talent. It actually did prove that Brent has got talent.
I mean, I was in Jamaica at the time when those auditions were taking place in Brent Cross, but you know, I did go to some of the auditions, and what was amazing as well, because Jasmine was the winner a couple of years ago of the Hair and Beauty show, so they asked her to open the show on the Sunday and the Monday, and that was amazing. So the show opened with the children dancing. They opened the Hair and Beauty show, which was amazing.
Okay.
And then to the finals, to be there to see everything come together, it was absolutely beautiful.
That's lovely, man. I mean, and you're saying part of the village organisation has got Gussie in it, because Gussie, I believe it was Gussie who carried the lamp through Harlesden during the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I remember everybody just lining up along the street trying to light their spliff off it. I was like, come on, Gussie, man, come, bring the torch over here, man, while I light my spliff up. Come, man, come with it.
So Gus, it's we've what it is. I'm not into titles, if I'm honest with you, but we're so I say we're the coordinators, but in you know, if you want to put it in formal terms, we're the directors. So it's myself, Gussie, Sandra, and Big Brother Fitzroy that are the directors of the Village House Harbour. And so we have people on the Village House Harbour, including, you know, local community police. We've got local councillors and just ordinary people from the community. You know,
I think that's what I really enjoy about you the most, is the way that a lot of the things you seem to be involved in is community based. I mean, this is one stop in Harlesden, if I'm correct.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, and what you guys doing with the mayor there?
So it's not just the mayor. The Jamaican High Commissioner came to Brent in 2019. So that was part of his. Yeah. So you can't see it, but Delroy Washington is in the back there. He was very much involved with that. So it began at the Civic Centre with coffee and pastries, and then we had amazing Delroy take us on a tour, where we went to see where the plaque is for where Bob Marley used to live. Dennis Brown's, there you go. That's where Bob Marley used to live. So we had a tour, and then.
Can you believe that? That's in Is that in Harlesden? Is this Harlesden we're talking here?
No, so so right here this is part of the reggae tour that Delroy took us on when the Jamaican High Commissioner came to Brent. So that, I believe, is the house. Is that the house where Bob Marley used to live?
Yeah. What area is that though? What area?
It's in Neasden. It's in Neasden. The circle. Yeah.
Okay. And Delroy Washington is with the white wrap on. Yeah. That's
correct. And I'm next to him. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. To the far left.
Okay. And then so from there then you lot what ended up in outside Apollo?
We did a tour, so Apollo. We also went to takeaways in Harlesden, but going back a little bit, that picture where you saw One Stop, we actually had lunch at One Stop. That's where we had lunch.
Did them not give you the food for free? One Stop give away food for free. Lord have mercy. I have to pop in and tell them, so I come with the mayor.
And the Jamaican High Commissioner as well.
No, I mostly have to turn up with the Guyanese High Commissioner, unfortunately. I mean,
it doesn't matter. The Jamaican,
but it does to me. It does to me.
All right, well, whoever you choose to. So that was
You know what? You know the gentleman at the back there with the white collar on.
I remember
him as a child. You know.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that we're roughly like same age because he was always grey. His hair was grey from when we were young.
Okay. So that gentleman, that's Stuart Melcher. He's actually been appointed the vicar of St Michael's in Tokington, and
Okay.
he'll start there in March.
Okay, because that's Wembley side. So tell us what you're getting up to here.
So that was not long ago. That's a couple of weeks ago. So that's the amazing Leroy Simpson, who runs Harlesden Mutual Aid. So that was a day when he had a food that was donated, and he has days when he does. I can't remember the days that he does Harlesden Mutual Aid, and he has, he encourages people to come and collect food that he gets. So he works also closely with the Salvation Army as well. So I went down there to support him. But there are mutual aid groups all over. Mutual aid groups. They came. So mind you, Leroy, I believe, was doing that sort of work. Yeah, years. I think he's been doing that sort of work for years. So he is kind of he's the top of top. Yeah, as my dad. That's a term my dad would have used.
Okay.
So mutual aid groups, as I said, well, most of them came out of COVID. I'm a volunteer for the Dunhill Mutual Aid. So in Dunhill, we have calls for people that want shopping, that may be self-isolating, or for whatever reason they can't get out. They could be short of cash, so we can support them in certain ways if they really can't afford their shopping. We've had a bit of funding from Brent. So, and sometimes people just want to talk. I'm actually on the care team side of it. So sometimes people, they just want to talk.
Well, I mean, with so many people being on isolation now, because I mean, I was told that these mutual aid groups are there to actually help people who are isolating, who are not allowed to actually come out of the house once they're being diagnosed as being positive. And then hence this is where people like yourself come in. So you're on the administrational side of things, if am I correct in saying that?
So I don't actually go out and do the shopping or anything like that. So I'm on the actual Dunhill Mutual Aid phone line is actually diverted to myself, but we also have a text message service and also an email, but I focus on the telephone lines. But I think it's more the email side and the text messages at the moment. They're probably the more busy, but because I haven't had many calls on but then we've got other mutual aid groups as well, and a lot of other support, and they work in collaboration. There's actually a Brent Mutual Aid who I think right now as we speak, or they may have finished, they have a meeting I think every other Monday to discuss what's going on. So there is, and which is wonderful, because I think people need to work together. It's more powerful.
Okay. But this is what I'm saying. Once again, this is you, Di, just putting yourself forward. You always seem to just put yourself forward. I mean, some people just talk. People just talk, right? And I mean, you've got the images here to prove that you don't just talk. You actually get involved. And that's why I see you as a community spirit, really.
Oh, thank you. So that picture was actually Brent Food Bank. That was 2019, because I used Christmas Eve in our parish centre, our church hall. They would they'd cook and give out hampers. So they're donated from supermarkets. They'd make up hampers. Well, no, they wouldn't make them up, but the supermarkets would, and they would be given out as well as to families, as well as there'd be a big meal put on. But this year we couldn't do it.
Okay, so what is this, where you go to the supermarket to collect these goods?
Right, so this is different. Right, so this is part of the Trussell Trust as well. So every year, so obviously last year we couldn't do it.
So by the way, people, this is something else that she's involved in as well. This is, I'll just let you know, this is something else that she's involved in. Go ahead, tell them.
So the Trussell Trust, so they're the National Food Bank. So this happens throughout the whole country. So under normal circumstances, they would for a couple, I can't remember, I think it's about 3 days or so, they would be in Tesco stores, and
Right.
just encouraging people to donate. So, you know, to obviously to give out to the community, but that's a Trussell Trust.
Okay.
So
Because believe it or
mhm.
when my brother's schizophrenic and he had problems, had problems with getting money and what have you, and that is who I actually turned to, the
Oh, okay.
Trussell people, and they actually helped out. And since then, I
Mhm.
donate at least 5% of whatever I earn. I actually hand it over to them.
Oh,
Because,
that's lovely.
it was just heartfelt to know that there was a set of people there who I didn't know, yeah, who
Mhm.
were willing to just help people, and I've never really had to turn to anybody like that
Mhm.
at no point in time. But I think it's people like you who are the backbone of these organisations, because they need
Oh.
volunteers, don't they?
Yeah, they do. But you know, I found myself volunteering in 2018
Okay.
because I you know, I get great fulfillment, and what I was going through at the time, and still am. Yeah, but you know, it kind of it made me feel like I was really making a difference.
Okay. Are you prepared to share with everybody what happened in 2018, which made a big transformation for you, because you lost 3 people in the space of 2 months?
I did. So so on the 23rd of May 2018,
Yeah.
my husband passed away. So Ray Johnson, aka Briggy, passed away. I buried him on the 15th of June. And then on the 16th of July, in the evening, my beautiful mum passed away. And then in the morning, the 17th of July, my dad passed away. So my mum and dad passed away less than 24 hours of each other.
Which must have been quite traumatic for you.
Yeah, do you know? Yeah, I mean, and I'm still processing things, if I'm honest with you, but I've got amazing people around me. Because I'm a sport. It was, and it still is. It's difficult to embrace but I say I've got 3 angels watching over me. I mean, sometimes I sit down and it does it. So I'm not in denial about how I feel. I speak about how I feel,
Right.
and it cuts like a knife. Sometimes I sit right here and I can't move. But I don't have. So I have those moments, and sometimes I might have those days. But they don't. I've got more of the uplifting days because you know, I focus on helping people a lot, but that's how I grew up because my dad, like, so this picture here, just focusing on this picture, this is part of the Jamaican High Commissioners coming to Brent. So the end part of it was at Willesden Seventh Day Adventist Church, which I'll come back to them because they're playing a major part in my life. Although I'm
Okay.
a member of St Mary's, but I'll come back to that. But you know, my mum and dad my mum and dad came from Jamaica in the 60s. So I've got 2 brothers as well. So that was me, little me. You can just about see, yeah, as a baby, yeah. And that's my birth. I used to have birthday parties. I told you I was spoiled. Yeah, that was one of my birthday parties. And there you go. That's my daddy. When I was born, I remember my dad, because I'm the only girl and I'm the youngest. Hence the reason I say I am sport, or still am sport. I remember my mum saying that when I was born, my dad just went into the room and he didn't really focus much on her, and he said, "Where's the baby? Where's the baby?" Yeah, and so I did. My dad, yeah, I was just, and my mum, both of them, they fought me, and then my amazing husband, my king. My mum used to say, if Diane has a headache, Ray worries, but she worried about everyone, you know.
Okay.
So I was just, yeah. So you know that yeah. When it comes to love, I know what true love is because my mother and father taught me what love is, and then I had Ray, who was a true meaning of love. You know, so I think that's what helps me because all 3 of them have got very powerful legacies. They've left so much. You know, so much. And my mum, I think what keeps me and what helps me, my mum used to say, when God is ready for you, you can't say no.
Okay.
And I remember in 2018, and I didn't know anyone was going to pass away. I remember saying to my husband, my faith has never been as strong as it is. And when my husband passed away, I was holding his hand. You know, I didn't expect Ray to pass away, because the day before, so he caught an infection, so he ended up in hospital. But that day before, I remember he was rocking in the chair, and I remember he tuned into Young Bushman's show, and we even phoned Patrick, and you know, we phoned a few people, and he was rocking away. So he took a turn for the worse that night, and I got to the hospital, and after a few hours, they moved him to another room, and I was literally holding his hand, you know, and that's the way he would have wanted it, you know, when he passed away. Yeah, so you know, but yeah, amazing. He's absolutely amazing. My dad owned Harlesden Castle. My dad was like a local celebrity. The whole world knew him. You know, there's New Look Travel in Harlesden, and I grew up with. So the owner, he actually passed away, I think, was it not last year, the year before? I grew up with his children, but I remember when my dad passed away, New Look Travel put up a picture of my dad in their window, you know, and I hear so many stories about my dad. When I mention the name Shrouder, you know, yeah, people know, you know, they know, they knew my dad, and they know my brother as well, because one of my brothers is very well known as well, Mikey Selector, you know, so he's, yeah, so, you know, yeah, so I'm blessed. And my mum and dad, you know, they grew up on a very famous road in
Denzel
Jamaica.
Road. Oh, in Jamaica. Sorry,
in Jamaica.
sorry.
Maxfield Avenue. That's where my mum and dad were from. Where the famous Channel One studio was. That's where my mum and dad grew up in Jamaica. So, you know, I love music. I remember my mum used to say, you know, listen to the words of songs, and she was referring to Bob Marley, like conscious lyrics. And so I grew up, music is therapy for me. I mean, I love all types of music, you know, so yeah, I mean, and then Ray, you know, Ray was a music man as well. So yeah, that's helped me in a big way. So that picture that you just showed there.
Yeah.
So what it is, Brent Council have this community champions initiative, and it is amazing what they're doing, because they're asking for community, so they need more community champions. So they want people, so it's voluntary, they want people from the community to work with them, to come up with ideas, to find out the needs of the community, and to come up with a plan. So it's been going since last year. It's been going on, I think, I don't know, around September time, I think it was. And so I've said I'm not a champion, a community champion, because I've got my own endeavours that I want to do, and I didn't want to commit myself to something that I couldn't, you know, honour. However, I've gotten very much involved. So this picture here was taken by a Brent photographer. I'm actually, although they didn't feature this picture, they featured me in the Brent magazine. I'm in the latest edition of the Brent magazine, and it talks about that initiative, and it's about keeping people safe. It's about keeping people healthy. Just reaching out. We really need to reach out to our young people as well as our elders. So that's what it's about. That's why I support them.
Is that another reason why you've thrown yourself into so many different community activities, would you say?
So not really, well, possibly, but you know what? So in 2018, before Ray or my mum and dad passed away, I think it was around January of 2018. Yeah, it was. An idea came to me where I wanted to set myself up self-employed, but my focus was going to be young people, because I used to work in the local job centre. I used to work at Willesden Job Centre, and I used to focus on young people, ex-offenders, and you know, because I was at one point, I was what they called a vacancy service manager, helping employers to fill their vacancies, and I worked in South London for a year, but I came back to Willesden. And I managed a signing on section, and I managed advisors. But my passion was helping young people. Thank you, Donna. So my passion was helping young people, and so with all what I learned, because I learned I got my managerial experience at Chancellor House. So job centres get bad names, but believe me, you have got some people with some beautiful hearts. Because I've still got friends that work in job centres. One being, I think they're almost 30 years, and she's a very gifted lady. I won't name her, but she's got a beautiful singing voice as well. Yeah, absolutely. And she's yeah. I
I
don't want to
think
give
she
away
should be
too.
named. If she's got a beautiful voice, she should be named.
Her name is Patricia. Patricia. I'm not going to give you her surname. Her name is
Okay,
Patricia.
no, that's
She's
fine.
amazing. Yeah, she's amazing. Got a gift of singing. Not a lot of people know that actually, that in the work setting. And she's a great friend of mine. So the focus was ex-offenders and young people. So with all that experience and with my managerial experience, the idea of setting myself up self-employed, and I was, as I say, that focus was going to be young people. But then that had to be put on hold because then I was coping with my husband being sick, my mum being sick, my dad being sick, and then everybody passed away. And so
But
with that in mind,
you did say that there were some strong characters around you, giving
this
you
is
the
rubbish.
support that you needed, if I'm correct.
So there you go. This is Pat. There you go. There's Pat, the singer. Yeah.
I remember
So,
Pat from church.
yeah, and so I go. There you go. Right, that's my good friend. Yeah. So just go. Yeah, I did, and you know what? I'm blessed. I've got elders around me that's known me since. There's a lady that literally watched my mum and dad bring me into this home as a baby, from a baby when I came home from the hospital. And I've got the likes of Mr. Mullins. I've got you showed a picture of Ruddy a minute ago. Ruddy is, I call him my big. There you go. I've got so much time for Ruddy. He's known me since I was 2 years old. His grandmother used to look after me. So
I used to play football with this young man.
Did you? Oh,
yes.
He's. Do you know what? He amazing. So I don't know if he'll want me to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you that my mum used to call him Spud back in the.
Thanks for telling me. Thanks for telling me. Come here to me, no,
because he used to like potatoes. And I think up to this, not long.
He looks like he likes potatoes as well. He looks
like
he likes potatoes.
Leave my big brother alone. He's amazing. I love him to bits. And there's quite a few big brothers around because I grew up on Denzel Road, so I've got quite a few big brothers. Fitzroy, there's Brian. There's many of them. So I've got two big brothers, brothers, actual blood relatives. But
let's end by talking about Donna.
Oh, Donna Hines. Right. So Donna, her dad was Dimples. So a lot of people would know Donna. Not actually met Donna, but through the No Bass Like Home, I was an interviewer for the reggae side of it. I connected with Donna, and it was on the 5th of December, to be exact. I got a phone call. All I heard was, "Hello, Diane." I said, "Oh, who's this?" I thought it was someone I knew. And then she said to me, "It's Donna Hines." From that moment, we connected. And we're like twins. We got the same middle name. Yeah. We've got this. There's so many. We've counted over 20 odd similarities. Even the 4 digits in our telephone number, the second part, exactly the same. My mum and dad grew up with her dad.
We're sisters.
So my mum and dad grew up with her mum and dad. With her dad in Jamaica on Mansfield Avenue. My mum and dad are buried right near her dad. And whenever I go to the cemetery, so before I connected with Donna, I used to throw a little bit of drink on my mum and dad's grave, and on her dad's grave, Dimples, and on my husband's. And so and also Donna, she lost her dad in March 2018, and 6 months later, she lost her partner Ray. My husband Ray and her. I've got Ray. I had a Ray as well. I've got Ray watching over me. They knew each other. They worked together as well. So there were so many similarities, and I can't wait to meet this beautiful lady. Can't wait to meet her.
Well, I'm sure that when you two do link up, you're going to have more. You're going to more than just zinc together, but it's going to be a fantastic meeting. But unfortunately, we've run out of time, darling. And as everybody can feel in the room, your momentum has just picked up. And we can tell that you're starting to get into your stride now in terms of opening up and telling us more about you. I'm hoping that you're going to do more lives, though. I think that's something that you should continue doing. I think it's something that you should continue doing, because even I found I spent one Saturday evening, I think, where we spoke for nearly 2 hours, and you was walking by Gladstone. Was it Gladstone Park at the time?
In Gladstone Park.
Yeah, in Gladstone Park at the time. And you're a comfort when it comes to somebody who's prepared to listen. You've got a very good listening ear. I have to give you credit. But it's been wonderful. It has been wonderful talking to you. And if there's anybody who's got any questions they'd like to ask Diane at this point, now is the time to do it. Okay, because I do have another guest waiting to come into the room. Crew Pressure's saying it's nice to hear your story. Netball 4 is saying that you're a beautiful woman.
Oh, thank you.
That's such a lovely thing to say. Philly is saying here, you are truly blessed. God is working miracles through you. Yeah. And Claire is saying that you have such a beautiful soul, Diane. So people are, even though we're in we're on the internet, people can see through.
Thank you so much.
And they can see
I'm so touched by all of these words. Thank you, Philly.
Who you genuinely are. And Bettina, I love the show. Thank you very much. Make sure you subscribe. Right? It's lovely hearing all those words, but it's important that you do subscribe, people. Please do hit those buttons and subscribe. Oh no, what a time for her to go. Right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give her a chance to come back so she could say goodbye to you guys properly. All right, so hopefully her internet will kick in and allow her to at least say goodbye neatly. That would be nice if she could. If she could, that would be nice. Modern technology today. It's not modern, man. Sometimes I think we should go back to the old beating the drum, when we used to communicate with one another through beating the drum. Hopefully she will see these messages later on. Thank you very much, people, for that. And some of these amazing words. Well done, Diane. Amazing to hear about Diane's story. Humble and beautiful Diane. Well done. I would also say well done to you, Antigua. Fantaz Mobox, an amazing person, and we are lucky to have Diane in our lives. I can't disagree with any of you on that. She gone. She has, unfortunately, and this time she really has left the studio, unfortunately. I can only assume that it's an internet connection that's gone down. So that will mean that we shall have to segue now to my next guest, ladies and gentlemen. Boy, when I read out this young lady's introduction, it's going to be, I think we might be here all night if I was to read out her entire resume, believe it or not. Jennifer says, well done, Di, fantastic, bless you. I'm sure she's going to be able to pick up all of these messages later on, once again. But let me bring on my next guest in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen. She's a journalist. She's a writer. Well, if you're a journalist, you are a writer, aren't you? In fact, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to let her tell you her story, rather than me tell you her story. But before I do that, allow me to introduce her to you. Where am I? Yes, please allow me to introduce you to her. Oh, Sherry. Oh, Sherry, oh, Sherry, oh, baby. Do you remember that tune, Sherry? Do you remember that tune?
Of course, I can remember that tune. That used to be my tune back in the day when we used to be in the room. Remember when we go parties where you used to young then, but the parties we rub off the wallpaper, and that tune came on.
Wallpaper, that was no chance when that tune used to come on.
And everybody wanted to dance with Cherry,
baby. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce you to Miss Sherry Ann Dixon. A big personality in the Black community in the UK. I must stress that when I say the UK, because she's not a UK citizen, I believe. Not anymore. You're currently, where are you, young lady?
I'm in Guyana, which is not Ghana. Some people get it confused. It's in South America. Guyana in South America.
So you know we share lineage then, don't you, darling?
I only found out the other day that you're a Guyanese banner.
I's Guyanese, girl. I's Guyanese. Oh God, bring me some pepper pots. Bring me some pepper pots and some roti.
Roti, boy, some pillory and so on.
Ladies and gentlemen, just allow me to read out some of this young lady's accolades. She's the winner of the European Federation of Black Women's Business Owner and Trainers Award in 2010, the winner of Dr. Nicholson's Funded Award in 2010, the winner of the ACWN Community Award in 2010, the winner of a BAFTA Best Radio Personality Award in 2012, the winner of the BAFTA Lifetimes Achievement Award in 2012, the winner of Live Magazine Lifetime Achievement Award in 2013, a nominee for the Stephen Lawrence Award in 2013, the winner of the Most Progressive Woman Award in 2013, certified of appreciation by the Mayor of London Peace Award in 2014, an Influential Entrepreneurs Award in 2014, the winner of the African Caribbean Women of the Year Award in 2015, Diva of Color Lifetime Achievement Award in 2015, Life Effect Star in 2015, winner of Influential Woman Award in 2015, MUN Lifetime Achievement Award in 2015. I could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Accolade after accolade after accolade.
Hey, you know, it's like that. And just to add on to it, I got another one. just as you thought you were running out, we got 120. Well, what was it? It's 2020 anyway. Yeah,
it's 2020. Oh my God! But the thing is, young lady, is that as a young lady, did you expect to achieve half of what you've done?
Yes.
You did.
Yeah, it sounds like people would say, surely not. But let me tell you this little story. When I was, I left Guyana when I was 9, and then I went back when I was, my mom had died, and I went back around when I was about 12, 13, 14, something like that. I can't even remember. So when I went back, my dad took me to a radio station. That used to be the thing to do, to go to BBC radio station. You know, it was like the big thing. There was no TV then. Everybody listened to the radio. And the man asked me, so what do you think will happen to you in your life? And he said, are you going to come back and get married to a Guyanese? And I said, no. Well, that went wrong. I got married to a Guyanese. And then he said, what do you think is going to be the next step? And I says, I'm going to be famous. I remember saying that. My grandmother
actually said you're going to be famous.
I'm going to be famous, well-known, famous.
Okay, yes.
And I said that. And I really had no idea at the time what I was going to do, because I was meant, you know how they have your life mapped out for you? Your aunt was a big nurse, you're going to be a big nurse. And so that's what really I was going to do. But perhaps even if I was a nurse, I think our family taught us to always aim high.
Okay.
So I think that I would have been a psychologist or a psychotherapist. I would have done something as long as it's to do with helping people.
Okay. Because when you first arrived in the UK, you ended up in Clapham, I believe.
Yes, in Chelsham Road in Clapham. So if you went left, you go towards sort of Stockwell Station. If you went right, you went towards near Clapham North Station. Oh, and that picture must have been that picture that you're showing, I think it was about 15, 16. Can you see the ottoman in the background, the thing that you pull out, and all the drinks was in the middle?
I remember that. I remember that.
And you just got on with it. You know, all of us was in one room, I think.
Okay. We're talking paraffin lamp days now.
Paraffin lamp days. That was the front room, and then in the bedroom you'd probably have dividers in the middle, you know, 3 people in one room. But we were never unhappy. And this was outside Churchill Road. Look at that hairstyle, my God. But it was all my hair. and that was life. I remembered life being lovely. I can't remember hating it. I can't remember, even although there was vast prejudice and there was things going on in our lives then, bad things going on. But as a child,
you weren't aware of it, were you? Were you aware of it?
I don't think so, until I was going to school in Clapham North, Parkside Secondary School, and a boy was going past with red hair. And up to now, I don't like red hair men because of this. And he was looking at me, and you know, I'm walking down the road thinking, he must be admiring me. You know, you're young.
I think if anybody saw you like this back in the day, they'd be admiring you, young lady.
I tried to tell them I was skinny. They don't believe me.
Anybody would have been admiring you back in the day. Me nah lie.
He started out walk, nigger, go back home. And I remember being frozen on the spot because he said that. And that was the first sign of prejudice that I ever felt, really.
Okay. But the thing is that you said that when you came over and you started to study and go to work, it was literally on the train and then to uni, I believe, and then straight back again. So it was you was mixing with a different set of people.
Yeah, I couldn't. Where I was living, it was like you went to college or went to wherever you had to go. It was very strict. My family was very strict, studying first, right?
Yeah.
So basically, the only black people that I saw was on a Saturday. Well, it was your everyday family in the house, right?
Okay.
And on Saturdays, people used to come over. Why am I echoing? People used to come over to the house.
Right.
And when they came over to the house, that's when we saw people. So we saw. Sorry, I'm echoing, so I'm trying to.
Yeah, that's because we haven't got earphones. That's what it is.
Oh, sorry, I don't have any, and if I put it on now, things will go bad like the last interview.
Oh, we don't want that.
But what happened is that people came over to your house. They used to bring their, whether it's pepper pot or beef stew or whatever it was, they cooked and they brought. And we had our own little parties in the houses that we were living in, because when we went to the pubs, or our parents at that time went to the pubs, it was almost like they had their little corner. You know, they weren't.
Like you made me feel like an intruder.
Really, you know, unless they act bad. When they acted bad, then somebody sort of, we better not get any trouble with them. And then they always had the bother boys over that side. And them times when they used to have arguments, bottles would break. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Whoa.
So I think people drank in their home. They always had a drink in case people came round. There was always a bottle of rum, a bottle of something, you know, so that they could.
When you say there was a lot more unity and a sense of community, because I remember those Sundays when it was always a case of you know, either we'd go to one uncle's house or we would go to their house, and that's what Sundays used to be about.
Sundays was like that, and you know what was really great, like around whenever it was a holiday, so you know you had 4 days over Easter, so it was out, you know, you're going to church on Good Friday, and then afterwards you would just, you know, people would come over. One person cooked today, somebody cooked on the Saturday, somebody on the Sunday, and then bank holiday Monday, everybody in Clapham North Park. Just having ice cream and whatever. It was more fun. We had fun. Then they used to play the music, you know, ska I mean, obviously I was a little girl, but they used to play music in the 45s.
Right, I remember those.
Yeah.
All 7 records pile up on one another.
That's right. And it doesn't matter how you throw it around. Okay. So this picture that you're showing now, that was more in the 70s. I was now grown up.
Yes.
Gone past the prejudice of work, and remember going to work. I was working for, I would say, solicitors then, and having an afro at that time was like,
that was the thing, though. That was the lick, though, isn't it?
That was the lick between us as Black people. But when you went to work, quite often you'd brush it or blow dry it or hot comb it, so it's not so radical. Radical being the word that they use, not what I used.
Okay.
And then remember one job I had in the bank. This is before I went into PR, and the lady was like, "Oh my God, what have you done to yourself?" Sherry Bollers, my family name is Bollers. I wasn't married then, and she said, "What have you done to yourself, Sherry Bollers?" And I said, "Oh, this is the style, you know, you're trying to sell it to them." And she said, "Okay." And then after about a week or two, she kept on saying every week, "Oh, you haven't changed it back. Oh." And it's like a disappointment every Monday that you didn't come back with the little coiffures, you know.
Okay.
And then one day she said to me, "Sherry, if you don't," and I heard "if you don't," and I didn't hear the rest. And I said, "That's okay, I'm going to type in my notice today." And I just typed my notice and gave it in. I wasn't changing back. Those were the days of Angela Davis, Black and Proud. I don't think we were prejudiced. It's just that we were getting in alignment to where our brothers and sisters were in the States. In the States, yeah. So
okay. So once you decided to leave there, how did you make your transformation? How did things start to develop for you? Because beauty was an important thing to you, if I'm correct.
That's right. And when I went to work in a PR firm, and that's when I found the Sherry. I found the thing that I liked. We were doing a survey for Splitkind Beecham on what women want, what do women like, and all that sort of stuff. But every time we did the interview, and I was obviously on the team, and our team looked after the mayor of London, Royal Ascot and Henley, and you know, big names, really big names. So anyway, this company asked us to do some PR, and I think we were doing a survey in order. And every time I went to interview a black woman, because it's based on what women want, they just would run away or they just wouldn't answer. I just got so sick and tired of them not wanting to be accountable, to not be seen. And I remembered saying to my boss, I'm going to start writing for Black women or women of color, because I think it's so weird that we can't give answers. Like where do you buy your soap? Well, obviously they didn't know, or if they did know, they didn't want to say Brixton Market, Hackney Market. You know, they felt a bit ashamed of that. It wasn't Superdrug. It wasn't in the other places. So I think that they ran away, and I just thought, you know what, we've got to get over being invisible. And my boss said, "Why don't you do something about it? Challenge. And I wrote up to The Voice at that time and told them, well, you know what? I'm sick and tired of reading about a man kill a man and cricket. And I want my money back." And I can hear the editor at the time saying, "We've got one here. Like I've just like if I've just come out of an institution." I wouldn't say madhouse, but the institution. And I said to her, "I heard what you said, but I'm not joking. You don't give, there's nothing in here for women. What about women and fibroids? What about women in this? What about domestic violence? All the what's about." And she says, "Well, if you think you can do better, why don't you?" And obviously when you do PR, you have to do a bit of journalism in there.
Okay.
So I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And I got my friend who basically took pictures, because I was training to do makeup artists on the side. And basically what I did is that I started to make up, I made up a girl. Actually, it was this lady that you're showing. It was her sister-in-law. And I made her up, and I just tied her head with a colorful scarf that had a Rasta scarf. She came in what I call a Rasta a headscarf, and I made it up with every color, and then I presented it to The Voice with the wordings that go next to it, and that was in 1981, and that was the beginning of my journalistic career. Yeah.
Okay, because you went on to edit Pride magazine, if I'm correct.
Yes, I what happened is that after I got into The Voice, many people started calling me and asking me questions. Like Cosmopolitan would ask me a question, and I would get a quote in there and a quote in all the white magazines that I call them white, but Cosmo, Bella, all those kinds of magazines. And then somebody basically said said to the boss of Pride, why is this woman writing for every magazine and not for us?
Okay.
And that basically, they called me in, I went for an interview, and he said, well, I'd like you to work for us. That was young Mr. Cushley. And that was it. I ended up working, getting the job as beauty editor for Pride. And on the first day, Lennox Lewis was being prepped for our cover, being viewed and photographed. And I had to oil him down,
Okay.
But
Tell us about the story with Maya Angelou and Nelson Mandela.
Okay, well, Maya was, further along the way. I was now seasoned at Pride, and I remember when the interview came in, nobody really wanted, none of the younger ones wanted to do that person because they didn't know who she was. And I was like dumbstruck, and anyway, they gave her to me. And the very first time I interviewed her, I kept looking at the cassette recorder thing, the little Casio ones.
Yes.
And I interviewed her with that, and I kept looking to make sure it didn't stick. You know how the thing used to jam and then
you just have to put a pen in it and spin it around sometimes. Yeah.
So I did that, and I got her. And then the second time, they invited us to come over to America, and I went. She was sitting. I think either she did a interview. She was either doing yoga or anyway, she's on the floor. And I think when I called to speak to her, I expected somebody to answer and go, Maya Angelou's office or whatever. And I said, can I speak to Maya Angelou, please? And she said, Dr. Maya Angelou. And she said, Maya speaking. And I was like, whoa. When you want to go to the bathroom at the same time. Anyway, she was really cool. And we had a great interview 2 or 3 times. But what I remember about her is that she says, use your power.
Okay.
Use your power. She would always tell you something to take away with you. And she looked me in the eye and she says, use your power. So that was the first time. Iyanla Vanzant said it a second time. You're powerful, use your power. And Nelson Mandela, what was so funny, he came to Brixton, and I didn't get that role to be the journalist then. It was to be the makeup artist, and I went there and I was trying to put on some powder, and the officious ones that are like, oh no powder. And he looked at me and he looked up like this and he said, do you think I need it? And I said, well, you need a little bit of it to take the sheen off, but let's pretend. And he did that wink, that little, he has them slant eyes, or had them. And he said, okay, let's do it. And basically, so the cameras got me. I can't find that picture anywhere, but
no, that's fine. I can imagine that this must have empowered you immensely.
Yes.
Considering that you're making up the likes of Nelson Mandela and
a man who I watched his journey. But what the funny thing is that then later on I got invited back to South Africa, obviously as a journalist. I think I went with the Choice FM crew.
Okay.
We went to South Africa and we got taken to the jail that he was in, and you could literally put your hands out, and that's how big the cell was. When they slammed the doors, I saw quite a few big men crying at that point, because to hear the echoing of how they used to just slam the door and put them in there, and it's just as only big enough if he opened his feet wide. Very small, but yet that man never I don't think that he gave up. He used that time, and I use that quite often when I talk to people about lockdown. Don't stop moaning about it. You can't do anything about it, but use this time to say, let's do something that I couldn't have done if I had to go to work or if I had to do something. If Nelson Mandela could be locked away in a jail, not even allowed to go to the park, then surely we can do something similar.
I think you're right. I think it is an opportunity. It is now a time for people to look at other elements of themselves, I guess.
Yes.
And really dig down now and try and find another way, because obviously the world has changed. And it's never going to be
never going to go back. This is the new norm, and whether you believe in the vaccine or not, for me this time is about us. Let's just find things to do, just like how you and I do a show, or I write, or I do stuff. I started cooking again because I was lazy. Because I was so busy. I had an excuse to eat out, being a magazine editor, because I moved from being just the beauty editor and being editor.
So then how did the Choice FM program come about then? Because
I was editor of Pride, and Ivor Etienne, we were all friends as such, the media.
Okay.
And I used to go on Auntie Lamar had a show, I think. I can't never remember the name of it.
No, the ladies' room, yeah.
And I used to invite me on Friday, so we sort of not co-hosted, but just be a guest where we would chat about everything. And I think that people got used to me. So Ivor asked me when Angie gave up one of her days to then do it. And it was called the Sherry Dixon Show. But what happened is that I was always going away somewhere, so I always had to pre-record my show. People stood in for me. So eventually, I'm sure they got rid of me. I can't remember if I left or they got rid of me.
Well, you seem to have been very busy at that time anyway.
I was always on a plane. I remember my partner at that time says, I think the plane knows you more than me. I was always on a plane going somewhere, because if it wasn't India, it was Europe. It was just everywhere, anywhere that I needed to be there as a Black woman to represent the Black woman of England. In fact, I was the first beauty editor of Europe, really, because there was no other one. There was no other one.
Because here's an interesting fact that you didn't know, was that when you is it in Brixton Village?
Yes.
And it was the embryonic stage of the Black comedy circuit when you met a young man by the name of Ian Thompson.
Ian Thompson is my friend. Ian Thompson, and I'm so glad that you said that, because he doesn't get enough accolades for what he did for our community at that time. And I didn't actually realize when he came in for the interview, he tells me that I was the one who decided that he should get the job.
Yeah.
And apparently I he said, oh, he's the one, and he got the job. And after that came all these different Black comedies.
Yeah, because that is when the comedy club was set up in Brixton Village, and alongside Cabaret with Miles Crawford. They used to run on alternative weeks, if I'm correct. And you had Eddie Nesta and Robbie G, who used to do Want Me I Go Win. Used to do that in there. That's right. And that's where the circuit began to get its buzz from in the first place, before it ended up going down to the Albany Empire, which then moved on to the Tabernacle, which then moved on to Hackney Empire, and the story starts to...
It's because of him that all of that started, and people really don't talk about him. They talk about themselves, but really he was the mindset behind a lot of those shows.
Well, nobody really ends up talking about the facilitator. Everybody knows the personalities. They know they know the Felix Dexters, they know the Curtis Walkers, they know the Leo Muhammad's, but they don't know who actually put on those shows in the first place. And that's where Ian Thompson comes in, and you was the person who was responsible for employing him to do that, to do that in the first place.
Yeah, because David Bryan was my boss, and he gave me responsibilities. And I thought Ian was excellent, so I'm glad that I chose him, because then he went on to do
Civic Centre, the Civic in
the Civic Walworth Road or something.
Yes, and that's where they got Cinderella. That's where they then got the Angela Mars did the show that she took to Edinburgh, I believe. A lot of big shows. That's it. That's the one. That's the one. That's the one.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
You know, he was very instrumental in that. But let's not forget that it was you who got him on that road. Let's not forget that.
Yes, I must tell him, come and listen to the rerun of this.
I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if he's listening in the background there, because he's not one who wants to actually step forward. I've tried to interview him several times, but he's actually given me a private interview. We spoke for about nearly 4 hours, actually.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
you should interview him, because he has a great story. Because behind the scenes, nobody knew that he was the man behind Crystal Rose show.
That's right. That's right.
So much more.
Yeah, that's right. I'm actually trying to get down to the foundation to help people to understand where the foundation actually is in terms of the broadcasting industry as a whole, and whose shoulders we're actually standing on in the first place. But today we're actually talking about you, Sherry, and you know, once you stepped into, is it St. Lucia?
Right. So I was after 10 years of being at Pride, I was beauty editor, and then beauty, health, and lifestyle. And I was the one that added on the lifestyle because I wanted to travel. and I thought, well, you know, I had to give myself another name. So I would go off to the spas in Portugal or St. Lucia or wherever.
Right.
So then I got asked, I was headhunted to be editor-in-chief of She Caribbean, which is a really lovely magazine. Everything is set in the Caribbean. It makes you want to look at the ladies if you're a man, and the other ladies will be looking at the girls dressed in bikinis hanging on a palm tree or something like that. Not just bikinis, just clothes. Nice, colorful clothes, not always
black and grey. That's just a reflection of the UK, in truth.
Yeah, because if you wore something bright, then they would say, "Oh, we need sunglasses. We need sunglasses." But really, in truth, so I started to change things up for me. I said, "I'm not wearing those dark colors in England, that is." And I would buy an orange jumper, and I'd buy a pink jumper. I always wore my black suits or whatever it is with a bright color. I went to Downing Street with an orange jumper. That's not my business if they don't like it. That's my color. So but before I went to St. Lucia, I was actually starting to speak in a lot of these big places. They were asking me to speak, and I could speak. So I would, whatever the theme was, I would go off and talk about it, but always talking about dispelling the myths of for people of color. No, our skin is not just oily. We have dry skin, we have combination skin, and our skin is not thick like mud. Somebody had written one time, and you know, I would go on the Lorraine Kelly show and all those shows and talk about the things that were real. I made women, well, obviously speaking about women, but women of color visible. I remember on Lorraine Kelly's show, I would talk to them about, see this light skin here? This is how I was born. We black people have different shades of black. And they'd only call us on there when they wanted
a soundbite for a black issue. I mean,
when they met people in Brixton, when the lorries went to and they get a lot of bleaching cream, but where they didn't expect me to come out with it, I'd be like, well, yes, you know, it's wrong for them to use it, and obviously talk about what it was doing to our, not just outer skin, but, you know, internally.
Yeah.
stuff, you know, it affects the kidneys and the liver. But I would then just in the middle of something that they couldn't cut out, I would say, and it's made in England. So
let them know. Let them know.
it's made in
I
England.
also like the fact that you weren't afraid to tackle some of the bigger issues. We're talking rape, we're talking sexism, we're talking incest, we're talking domestic violence. I mean, these are not sexy subjects, but why did you choose to even bring them up as topics?
But because women wrote to us at Pride, and some of the stories, when you read it, it would be so tearful, hurtful. You know, whether somebody's being beaten every day. I remember a story of a young girl who was being raped by her father and other family members. So she was only like, you know, 8 at the time or something.
Oh my God.
And so these things, obviously the mother probably knew and couldn't do anything about it. You remember, she also would have been part of that domestic violence situation, but that's what they did. And the letters would come in like that, or a woman who got married to a man in Jamaica at the time, and she was sending all this money to him and buying him the phone and buying him the stuff because she thought she was getting married to him. And then when she got home, found out that he's been married all the time. You know, those are the subjects that we must talk about, not because we're bad talking men, because women do bad things too.
Right.
But incest, that's what I meant by the little girl. That's wrong. That, in fact, I think, I don't even know if the person went to jail, they were raped, but whoever that note that came in upset the whole staff. Why should we not talk about that? Why should we not put that in a magazine when it might be something that 20 or 30 women need to know their rights, and things like that. So I was never afraid of doing that. And lastly, I wasn't afraid of tackling the people who were advertisers, because if you look in black magazines, you never it still doesn't happen, adverts for things like buying a house. I'm sure lots of people on this thread have mortgages, but yet you never saw a black woman at the bank manager talking to a bank manager. You never saw a black couple talking to a bank manager. Yet our parents came to this country and they saved in Barclays Bank. Get them Abbey National and Barclays Bank, those two, but they wouldn't even let them have one little piece of advert in a magazine or you know, anything like that. So I used to call them out. Palmer's cocoa butter, and I still say, and I will never stop saying it. When I asked them to advertise, they were saying that we were not their
demographic.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it didn't take too long for people to realize that you were a voice.
No.
I mean, you were actually commended by the Mayor of London for this, if I'm correct, with an acknowledgement for the inspiring work that you were doing for women in the community by being presented with a certificate of appreciation at the London Peace Awards. What was that like?
That was really strange. I mean, I didn't know who nominated me. I didn't know. I guessed, but I didn't know. So to me, that was an honor because it was people of my community. And to go and sit in this big room, which normally you see on the TV, you know, the actual mayor's office.
Yeah.
And to sit there and watch them all downstairs, and then I was part of them. Then I got the peace certificate. Obviously, I didn't get the actual peace award because the people that got that, I think you know why they get it, because you know, say no more, but you know why they get it. And they normally have buses or they have some building that they so-called helping other people, when you know the people that they're helping is their people.
Is their own people, yeah.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So basically, but for me, that I was recognized and I was in a brochure, and I still have that brochure, and I've got the actual Peace Award. It was really something that I'm glad, even if although it was Boris, I was really glad.
And then how did the whole how did you move forward into the whole transformational thing now, this whole mentoring push, this whole empowering women now, because it's very much a big thing of what you do today. You know, even when I listen to some of your podcasts and stuff like that. I mean, it's not geared towards us men, I know that, but you know, you play a major role now, and you've got a very strong voice, and you seem to be using it.
And you're showing me with no hair, and you're showing me with hair, but the locks
It doesn't really matter because
I'm the sort of person. But I had locks, and then
I mean, this is you in your 50s. Look at you, you're stunning, absolutely stunning.
As in my 50s, and I grew those locks, you know, with natural shea cocoa butter that I brought back from Africa, and it helped it to grow. But I was going through, I think it was menopause, but I didn't know it at the time.
Okay.
I talk about these things because every woman will go through it, but yet nobody talks about it. It's like,
that's what I'm saying, is that everything seems to be geared towards empowering women and getting them to understand who they really are.
Yes, and they should. Because their mothers, why I say their mothers didn't educate them, because they grew up, their mothers, most of the women that I know that are now in their 40s, 50s, their mothers don't like to talk about these things. It's like if it's some shame. Well, as far as I know, it's not a shame. It's not a shame thing, because all women have to go through menopause or fibroids or something that affects us, and we should be the ones that are giving the information. And if I use an example, when I went to as I got older, you know, and you go off for all these different tests, and I think I had some irregular cells, which women will know what I'm talking about. And
well, bring us men in. It's not fair to go, oh, women will know, and then
you have to have your tests to make sure you haven't got cervical cancer. A lot of women have to do that, and I don't think there's an age group for it, but it would have been in my 30s, late 30s or something, and I had irregular cells, which means that there was cancerous cells there. And I'm gonna bring Diane into the room now. Hopefully her internet would have settled down a bit. No, I can see it. No, we can see you, Diane, but you're frozen again, darling. You can't hear her even. Oh, there she is. Hi, Diane. Don't fall asleep, honey. Oh no, she seems so. Diane, we can see you. Diane, can you hear us? No. Diane, can you hear us? Probably I have to call her on the phone. Okay. She's in the. Oh, never mind. Okay. Well, I was talking about irregular cells, and basically I had to go and have them taken out, and they were asking all these questions. Did anybody in your family have that? And you know, anybody in your family have it? And I was always, I don't know. Breast cancer, anybody had it? No, I don't know. But really, in truth, yeah, I found out later on that some of these things did run in my family, but if you don't let the women around you or people around you know, then when their time comes, because they tend to work out if it's hereditary, if it's hereditary, then they have to worry a bit more, or if it's a one-off. Those are the things that I do. That's why I do what I do, in case somebody's mother didn't help them. We should be educating the next generation, not keeping them in the dark. Don't tell nobody your business. Oh God, you start talking to Guyanese now. Don't tell nobody your business, and don't talk your business with anybody, because they could do things. See all these stupid things that they say. Don't tell anybody. Some of it obviously makes sense. Don't talk too much, because some people use your business. Of course, and they use it against you. That's true. Get that. But don't, when it comes to health, don't do that. So my educational focus, my talks is always about education, the woman and the girl child. I think every woman and every girl child, young woman, should have a mentor, because this is how we learn. By being that village, by being the people in the kitchen when we were growing up, how they'd be in the kitchen, parting your hair and greasing your scalp. That's where all information was passed on. And so I'm creating that indirectly, virtually, by talking about things that we should know. Okay. And tell us about this event. I was speaking in the United Nations. I went there and I was asked to speak for the Justina Matali Foundation, and that was my theme. Why theme, not team? my theme, why
Okay.
every woman and every child should have a mentor. And the funny thing is, all the political parties of London was there, and they were tweeting it. I got the tweets. Every single one of them quoted me and tweeted it back to England, and so it was really good.
Okay.
Donna Ben says, "Did you know my mum had a history?" Did not know my mum had a hysterectomy until after I've had one. Do you see what I mean?
Okay.
And now we don't have to have hysterectomies. That's the thing that doctors in the UK do. As soon as you've got fibroids, take away your womb. Even if the people don't have any children, they don't work at helping you to have the children. And really, even taking away the womb is semi-taboo, because once they do that, and then it affects all your hormones, and then you're on estrogen level goes mad, and then stuff happens. It breaks up relationships in some cases because you don't know what's going on. Nobody teaches you. But Black women, a good 70% of Black women suffer from fibroids, and that's because we shouldn't be eating certain things, cheese, anything that is high in estrogen.
Okay, Diane, you're back in the room.
And I'm all of a sudden I just appeared, yeah. So I know now.
What happened? We tried to bring you in earlier on, and you cut out. You cut out several times on us.
So I've made several attempts. I'm having terrible problems tonight. So yeah. So I'm back now. I don't know how long for.
I told you a lot about your English thing. Look at me all the way in Guyana, coming through loud and clear.
That's amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you are in Guyana, empowering young females in the UK.
Yes.
Getting them.
And
a beautiful picture.
Thank you. The reason I do these pictures, I don't care whether you've got a fat arm or fat belly. That is none of anybody else's business but yours. Just fix up your own self. Stop worrying what everybody else thinks about you. So I do those things. Look, wear bright orange with some African stuff. Find your own style and show off your curves, because it's your curves. And stop wearing all them 101 girdles that they wear now. I know somebody on here is gonna laugh, right? No Spanx. You think
connection again?
Do you think
my connection's going again?
Oh no. Do you think the man who is looking at you don't see that you're a size 16, 14, 16? So
yes, we see. Yes, we don't see. We don't see.
Belly to be a size 12. No. Be yourself. Just don't obviously do fitness things,
Of course.
Don't walk
healthy.
Don't walk on bubble. Don't walk on bubble. But you know what I'm saying? Just keep healthy, and just look pretty for you first. Where in Guyana are you, Sherry? Donna Ben says, I'm in Plaisance, hon. I'm in Plaisance at the moment.
Is that near Georgetown? Is that
15 minutes from Georgetown?
Okay.
So it's not that far, but it used to be countryside when we were younger. We used to get on some train and go with all the parents. Used to pack up all your sandwiches and the patties and the pine tarts and stuff like that, and they would take you on a trip out somewhere out here in the countryside, because it's a lot of goats and it's farm area. I love it.
No, I love Guyana. I mean, I've been there about 4 times now, in my entire life span. It's not somewhere I could live, I tell you the truth.
I think so, but you could do it for like 2 weeks,
yes,
so that you can learn about your heritage. So when you come, I'll show you around.
Okay, I'll definitely take you up on that one, because I do have relatives who do live in Georgetown, on both my mum and my dad's side.
Yeah, you just can't let them think that you're coming down to bring money. You're not coming with pots of gold, as everybody in the Caribbean seems to think that you lot in England's got money, not knowing that you're struggling to pay your bills the same way, right?
I think it's because of the way that they used to go back home and they used to floss when they used to go back home, because the pound was so strong, Strong,
but it's not so much now. It's 140, 150. It's only 50 pence extra. It's not a whole heap of money. And you
No,
remember them send all them barrels.
Yeah. I mean, they just tease me now about London bridges falling down. They just tease me.
Yeah, one of the bridges falling down, it fall down, and in fact, it gone to America.
Yeah, that's how they just talk about it, man. Oh dear. No spanks for real, because when them take it off, whee!
Leary.
Yeah, Leary.
Let them see what you got. You know, guys don't ban up their belly. Look at you lot walking around, especially now that COVID's here. So many men has got bellies. Come on.
How is COVID affecting everybody in Guyana?
If I'm being honest, I see them walking around with their masks, but they're getting on with their lives. Nobody's, we're not locked down like y'all. Shut up, Leary, Donna says. Nobody's locked down. We don't have no lockdown. We had curfew. But that's gone now. It used to be 6 o'clock, and then they moved it back to 8, and now I don't even know what it is. We can't go in the restaurants. The restaurants are closed, so you can't eat inside, but as long as they have the tables outside, and because this is a warm country, you know, we're gonna sit outside. But they're doing it so the rum shops, no, but them guys don't hang around in the rum shops. And the people are not as, they're not, doesn't seem to be so have so much angst as in England, because they haven't locked us, they haven't told us we have to stay indoors. We can't, you can imagine telling a Guyanese person or even a Caribbean person, you can't go and visit your family. I don't think so. People say, why can't go visit me, mother? You're mad? You know, that ain't gonna work. It really won't work.
No, it's not something that it's not something they will put up with for 1 minute. Man.
So I'm saying they're quite good with their masks, social distancing. They don't understand 3 foot, 6 foot. It's just like, lady, you can serve me first, and their hand is coming over your head, and you're like, hello, social distancing, but they don't understand that. Look what I picked for you.
Star fruit. Five finger. What do you call it again?
5 finger in.
5 finger, yeah.
In Guyana, but then you'll call it star fruit.
That's right, yes.
And that's in the backyard. So the good thing about living in okay, am I living here forever and ever? As long as I'm happy here. I stopped being happy in London. This is the thing.
Yeah.
I know you're going to ask me this question, but I'm sort of taking over your show. Right?
No, that's okay. No, this is your platform. Sherry, this is the thing I know about you, yeah? Normally, you are interviewing somebody. Today, you are being interviewed.
I know, it's so strange.
Normally, you would be talking, or you, as they would say back in the day, you would have spoken to Luther Vandross. You would have spoken to Barry White. You would have spoken to Whitney Houston. You would have spoken to Alice Walker. You would have spoken to Terry McMillan, John Holt. The names just keep going on and on and on. So I think that's why I thought it was so important for me to get you to talk about you, as opposed to you getting other people to talk about them.
I know, it's so strange. It feels really strange. But I wanna cover something that most people never ask me, and that's why did you come back from St. Lucia? Because I was already, you remember, I left London and I went to St. Lucia. I was in St. Lucia and I don't think I was Caribbean enough. And somebody said, what do you mean by that? Because they have a different way of speaking to their staff, and it's almost like that mass mentality that I didn't like.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it's just in St. Lucia. I'm saying that the Caribbean's attitude is very harsh to me. And if they did that in England, you'd probably want to take them to a tribunal, but that's how they were. And I remembered not liking that. And I remembered when it was time to, the contract was about to renew, and I didn't want to. I didn't feel comfortably enough. I was lonely, is the word.
Okay.
Because we had the beach, but the buildings that they put us in as editors and stuff.
So this is when you was at the chief Caribbean magazine, yeah?
Of She Caribbean.
Okay.
I was living in paradise, but lonely because I didn't go with family. I went by myself. So, sorry, I'm listening to a noise and I keep thinking, there's a man outside. So what happened now was that I basically I said I wanted to come back, and when I was doing that, I felt I'd let people down. So many people were relying on me to make that work, because you remember, people follow people, right?
Right.
And I came back to London. I remember sitting there looking at everybody and thinking, what did I do? I did the wrong thing. I shouldn't have done that. I should have taken a break, you know? And I went into depression. And it was at the same time that I think we had the first financial depression around that time. I think it was 2010 or something.
No, that's the second, because we had a financial crash before that.
This was the 10 one.
Yeah, we had one before that, but yeah, I do remember. But that's when we had Black Wednesday.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. And I'd send off my CVs and they were saying I was overqualified. I mean, that was the first time I heard that word, overqualified. But that's because they didn't want to give you the job, right? They didn't want to give you the job. So basically I moved. I didn't know what to do. I was moving from pillar to post, doing jobs that I didn't like, going for interviews, even in Tesco's. I didn't care. I wanted money, and I didn't have that fear of work. But when I said go into work, I didn't get the job. I'd apply even there, and they said, "No, you're overqualified." I'm sending off my CVs to PR firms, other firms, and they were saying too qualified. So I'm in the middle. Too qualified, overqualified. And I went into a little bit of depression. I think it only lasted about maybe 3 to 6 months. I can't remember exactly, but I know I got it. And I remembered actually sitting and crying and talking to people. But you know, when you're crying and your heart bubbles and your voice is cracking and stuff like that. And I felt like a failure. You start to wonder, was I really that good? Maybe I was bluffing. All the maybes. And I remembered somebody said you should sign on. I was like, what? Sign on? But do you know what I did? I remember it was January, and I went to sign on, and I put this cap on, and it was like down here, and I went to sign on. And the day that I signed on, in the Voice newspaper, it said Sherry Dixon becomes patron of National Black Women's Network. There's this. Oh my God. And I was dying, because you know what? One of the ladies who was working behind the desk came and she said, "This is you. This is you. We got a superstar in our audience." I was like, "What do you mean superstar? Don't tell everybody." And she proceeded to tell me all these people, comedians by the way, who were signing on. But I didn't know about that. But anyway, I got myself off of that after I think about 3 months. And then went. I went and did a training course, a teacher training course, and then became somebody who. It was the course was confidence building, assertive training, and cognitive psychology, and I did that, and then I ended up doing all the weekend courses and healed myself because I had to study at the same time as I was delivering. And so really, the person that I am now is because a woman called Sonia Meggie was the one who found me, who asked me to teach at that college, and that helped me to learn about and rebuild myself. And in building myself, I then went to take another course and another course and another course. And I have to say, I'm so proud of me because many went under. Many went under because they felt that they couldn't, they felt that they had to have that big job. I just went in another direction. And the direction was me, what I'm about personally, how I like to help people, how I like to motivate people, and just using science to help them. So
but it all did turn around for you, because I mean, in 2016 you was appointed the county committee chairperson for motivation. in the UK. You were a keynote speaker in the House of Lords and the House of Parliament. You know, 2019 saw you become the director of the Women's Chambers of Commerce and Industry in Guyana.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like you have to go down to go up.
Yes, that's the thing. I'm glad you said that. Sometimes when you're down there, people always say when you're down there, pray. I said, while you're down there, do some homework. While you're down there, write down all the things you're good at. I'm good at sewing, I'm good at cooking, and understand that you might be able to cook and make cakes, and there's beautiful cakes. You know, everybody coming to your house for cakes, right? But you're not necessarily good at marketing yourself. So the only people that know about the cakes is you're in the house. You know how everybody say, let me go to Auntie Joan and get some cook-up rice on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
But as far as it stays, what we or the new generation are talking about now is about marketing and marketing yourself effectively. So therefore you team up with somebody who's a friend that can help you. You can give her 10 pounds or $10 out of your 100, and she does, you know, obviously depends on the level that you're at, but let somebody else help you to market yourself effectively. You can't keep it all for yourself, right?
No, but then so lead us now into where you're currently at and what you're currently doing, and also as you do so, please inform everybody how they can stay in touch with you in terms of what you do, with reference to your own platform, please, and then because I'm getting close to having to close the show now.
Okay, I can do it. I can wrap it up for you. So now I'm in Guyana, and COVID came. I came to Guyana when they was stabbing up people and all them kind of things. And in London, you know, the boys were fighting, and I thought I can't stay here anymore, and I just need a break. And I went to Barbados for 3 months, and I lived in an Airbnb, and then I decided to come to Guyana. And while I was here, I realized that this was my niche. There was a lot of people here that needed help, and that I could give what I gave to Britain for all those years. I can do it here. So I'm here, and I'm a transformational life coach. I'm very busy. And I also started a show called Let's Talk with Sherry Ann Dixon, and that's doing pretty well. So that's what I'm doing right now, and it's quite popular. And I interview all the people just like you're doing. I know many people. I can call on them, and basically that's what I do. I call on them and say, "Come and talk to me." Otherwise, I'm going to tell people you don't want to talk to me, and that's basically what I'm doing. And it's perfect timing to say, if you want to get hold of me, then call. You can no, don't call me. Send me a message, either a messenger, Facebook Messenger, or everything. My handles are Sherry Ann Dixon. Just Sherry Ann Dixon. Just put it in there, or just Google my name and you find it. My website is allthewsherryandixon.com.
Okay.
You can send a message there.
That's great. And on that note, is there anything that you'd like to say before you depart as well, Diane? I know we've been unfortunate with your web connection, but is there anything you'd like to say before we go?
I just want to say thank you. And Sherry Ann, I haven't been able to listen to all of it because of my bad connection, but from what I've heard, you're a very inspirational lady, and I can relate to a lot of what you're saying. I can learn a lot from you, but yeah, and a lot, you know, for me, since 2018, it's about I've doors have opened up for me, and even in this lockdown, you know, I mean, you spoke about baking and stuff. I mean, I don't think I'll continue, but I've been baking, I've been doing all sorts. But I found my gifts, and I'm finding my gifts, and I want to do them.
Plug in my thing because the battery is on 1%.
Okay.
Yeah. So
see, I tell you, so these women can talk. Your talks are telling your battery nearly dead.
Could you just hold on a second, please?
Okay.
But thank you, Rudi. I mean, despite
it was a pleasure. It really was a pleasure. And it's the whole point of the platform in the first place. To be honest with you, that we just never had a Des O'Connor back in our day. We didn't have a black Des O'Connor, and I like to think that my name will be synonymous with Eamon Andrews at some point in time, and people will understand what I'm really trying to achieve here. But I just thought I'd take this opportunity to let everybody know that next week I will be talking to Vivian Love Jones. He's a starlet within himself. I mean, when I think of him, I think of the cool ruler, believe it or not. People might not think so, but I do. I see Vivian Love Jones as like the cool ruler that the Jamaicans have. And I'll also be talking to Norman Samada Smith, who is a writer and an editor and a publisher. So that's going to be quite interesting. So I hope you guys...
That's interesting. I'm listening to that.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that people are gonna tune into that. So on that note, ladies, would you like to say goodbye? Starting with yourself, Diane.
Thank you to everyone, and thank you for your uplifting words, your love. Yeah, that's what is helping me. And yeah, I just say abundant love and blessings. And Sherry Ann, you're definitely an inspiration. You are a true inspiration. So thank you. And Mr. Rudi, thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm about to close the show, so please don't disappear. You're going to see me play a few promos, okay? And I'd like to say goodbye to you properly, okay? Sherry, would you like to say your last words?
Bye, Rudi. It's been wonderful to be able to speak to you. I knew you since you were young. Yes, I'm sure I was one of the makeup artists behind the scene for your something, because we know each other, and we couldn't have only we couldn't
I wasn't high enough. I wasn't high enough in the scene at the time to pay me much attention, girl. You know what I mean? My name was not Barry White. My name was not Luther Van Ross, right?
I'm going to go on my list and I'm going to put Rudi Lickwood at the bottom. I put Jeff Schumann after you.
Oh, thank you very much. That I appreciate. That I do appreciate.
Right. But apart from that, it's been wonderful to be able to share that journey and to motivate somebody either to come back to the Caribbean or to make a journey for themselves wherever they go. But don't.
I think there's a lot of people who are considering that right now. They're considering moving, whether it be to Gambia or whether it be back to the Caribbean islands. I think a lot of people are considering
Do something. You don't have to stay.
Yeah.
Don't pray. Don't let fear keep you trapped, is my word. Yeah?
Okay. Thank you, Sherry.
Bye.
Well, people, I hope you've enjoyed tonight. It's been immense. I promised you it would be immense, and I think it's turned out that way. With some of the things that you guys are saying at the moment. Thank you very much, Althea. Nevada is in the room, ladies and gentlemen. Big shout out to Nevada. Thank you, Donna. Donna says, good night, ladies. Great show, lots of insight. Good to see a fellow Guyanese. Leary says, another stunning show. No bother with that one. Shut up, because we're not all Jamaicans, all right? You little Jafaki, right? Wonderful, says says Keatley. Show was very informative. Thank you, Diana and Sherry, for sharing your stories. So inspiring. Big up yourself, Rudi. Great show. Big up, big up, big up, big up, big up. People, you know that we've overrun, but you knew that it was worth every minute that we spent that we would normally not spend, so to speak. So check out the promos, and I will see you guys not on Wednesday. There is no show on Wednesday, but during the morning. But I will be on this program, so check this one out.
Yeah, some of the parents know what you them are going with, you know. Don't allow your youth to roam the street. Take responsibility for the youth them. You know what I'm doing tonight? You know what I'm going tonight?
Denise Francis. Remember what? 3 more questions. Come on, people. 3 more questions.
And I'm waiting for red flag there.
Rudi, just ignore it, Rudi. Ignore it.
Hold up. You just step out.
Rudi?
Already gone.
Rudi is frozen.
Listen, man, I was born here, yeah? East Ender, born and bred, and you.
I'm good, I'm good.
Let's have our own conversation. Forget about them lot.
I must say, first of all, those who are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to YouTube, our Anything Goes YouTube podcast. And then when we go live, you get notification.
Young people, plenty of money, down in the milk round. Remember the milk round?
Yeah, and the reason being is that, number one, that the way how things are taught is well beneath the standard of your child. So your child's now having to dumb itself down.
Red flags, and we don't know who they're for. Heaven is between a woman's legs, as far as I'm concerned.
Rudi, man.
No, right there. Send them picnics to bed.
Rudi,
and I get
time. And red card, red card.
Rudi,
let's have a proper show.
15 minutes with DJ Countryman and Rudi Lickwood, Saturday morning mayhem with true entertainment heavyweight. Join them with interviews, comedy and quizzes.
Child support money for you or something.
No chance to that, Babs.
No chance.
Morning, darling.
Hey everyone.
Hey,
My internet's awful.
We got to be free. Just like we travel over land and sea. My people shall free. We got to be free.
Hello.
Like we
Hello. Get high, goodbye. Get high 3 times.
You gone.
Sound the
He's gone, man. He's gone.
15 minutes with DJ Countryman and Rudi Saturday mornings. Now I'll be the same again.
Incredible.